Good morning. My name is Beth Andes, and it is my huge pleasure to welcome all of you to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church this morning. I'm particularly happy to see these folks in the front row, although I did call them a rogues gallery. Those of you who know them understand. So, a couple of things. First of all, please do silence your cell phones, except if you want to check in on social media, you're certainly welcome. And I do want to welcome all of those who are live streaming this program. You are so welcome to be here. I do want to point out the exits. There's the exits in back that we all came through, but there's also two up front in case of an emergency. There's one on either side of the stage. So just be aware your closest exit may be in front of you instead of behind you. Welcome to you all.
Good morning and welcome. If you are celebrating the mothers in your life, happy Mother's Day. And happy spring. The season has unfolded fitfully this year and a bit damply, but the blooming time has come at last. And today we celebrate the custom of offering each of our children a flowering plant to remind us of the beauties of the world and the power of growing. We welcome in those who have recently chosen to make this community their spiritual home. And we lift up in honor the elders among us who have been part of our congregation for more than 50 years. They have truly been the builders of this place of deep meeting, in courage and love and trust. It is true that the world around us is full of pain. There is greed and deception, injustice and hatred, almost more than we can bear. When some perish for want of what others might easily offer, we have work to do as a people of faith. We are called to speak out, to protest, to resist, to choose love fiercely. And yet we must not ignore the beauty around us or forget the faithful care that has nurtured us. We must not neglect to embrace new friends and honor old ones. For by these recollections, we build a substantial vision of the world that might be. Without such a vision, the work of justice can become bitterness, and the call for accountable relations dwindle into crabby self-righteousness. We would be people of expansive compassion and generous spirit. We would build a house of kindness and gentle laughter and soulful beauty to nourish our hopes and to sustain us in our public and our private struggles. Week by week, we kindle this chalice flame, seeking illumination of mind and heart and spirit, so that we might be a light to the world. May there be reason in our minds and truth on our lips. May the fire of commitment burn in our work for justice and peace, and may the warmth of community that we offer to one another overflow from this place to touch lives all around us, now and for a long time to come.
Good morning. My name is Jenny, and I light this chalice for respect of the interdependent web of all existence in which we are a part of.
Excellent. Thank you, Jenny. Now let us all rise as we are willing and able and join together in our opening song. Some of us know that the origins of Mother's Day begin in the struggle for peace. And so it's important to hear those words from Julia Ward Howe.
Again, in the light and the sight of the Christian world have the skill and the power of two great nations exhausted themselves in mutual murder. Again, the sacred questions of international justice have been committed to the fatal mediation of military weapons. In this day of progress, in this century of light, the ambition of rulers has been allowed to barter the dear interest of domestic life for the bloody exchanges of the battlefield. Thus men have done, thus men will do. But women need no longer be made a party to the proceedings which fill the globe with grief and horror. Despite the assumptions of physical force, the mother has a sacred and commanding word to say to the sons who owe their life to her suffering. That word should now be heard and answered as never before. Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, and say firmly, we will not have great questions be decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender to those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as the means whereby the great human family can live in harmony. In the name of womanhood and of humanity, I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient, at the earliest period consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, and the great and general interest of peace.
Amen. On this Mother's Day, we celebrate those who are mothers, and we celebrate those who also do the work of mothering. Because we know that the work of mothering is not limited to those women who carry a child for 9 months. That's important, but it's not all that makes up mothering. It's also not limited to those women who care for and raise children. That's also important, but that's not all there is. Because the work of mothering, of providing nurture and comfort and challenge, is also done by grandparents and cousins and friends and neighbors. It's not limited by gender or by age or by genetic link. Those who mother us come in many forms, and we're grateful for all of them. So today we have carnations for the children to give to their
people in their lives who mother them. And if, as you are on your way out for the adults, if you would like to take a carnation from the vases outside to someone who has mothered you, we hope that you'll do that as well. So the children, if you'd like to come forward and get a carnation for the people who are mothers to you, please come and get those.
A Prayer in Spring by Robert Frost. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away as the uncertain harvest. Keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in with needle bill and off a blossom in mid-air stands still. And for this is love, and nothing else is love, the which of it is reserved for gods above, to sanctify to what far ends they will, but which it only needs that we fulfill.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? All righty, awesome. I am here to do the invitation to offering and to let you know that today's special offering was given, quote unquote, to Green Sanctuary to select an area organization that we thought would be a deserving recipient. The organization that we have chosen is the Sustainable Sanctuary Coalition. For those of you who are not aware of what the SSC does, they have been active since 2005 in the Kansas City area to help church organizations maintain accountability to the intent of what is known as earth stewardship and ecological justice. Of the 35 organizations they list as active members, and when I say organizations, this includes both churches and synagogues and other denominations, the UU congregations of All Souls and Smooch are both listed. In terms of a Mother's Day theme, for those of you who like to stick to themes, I would like for you to think and consider that of the many evolutions of what we know of as Mother's Day, one of the key evolutions entails a woman who was known as Mother Jarvis in the Appalachian communities where she worked. It was her daughter, known as Ann Jarvis of Philadelphia, that's Miss, by the way, who was instrumental in pushing the legislative efforts to get Mother's Day recognized nationwide. Mother Jarvis was known for organizing Mother's Work Days, wherein mothers across Appalachian communities would come together and they would pool their energies and resources in order to help save the lives of people in their communities who were dying. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Who were dying of polluted water. So when we think about our local, if you will, nurturing agencies, the Sustainable Sanctuary Coalition, whose work is to make sure that environmental accountability continues among institutions, I think is a worthy recipient of our contributions. Thank you so much.
While our offering is being taken in honor of the beauty of Mother Earth, we're giving beautiful flowers to all of you children and youth today. The flowers are made possible through the generosity of Ray Kemp. With the help of Betty Hudson, many years ago, Ray set up a fund so that our children and youth could have springtime flowers every year. And Betty is here to help us pass out the flowers this morning. And we want to thank you again, Betty, for your part in making this happen. The flowers remind us to celebrate the growth of new life and the wonderful diversity of nature. These flowers also remind us to celebrate the beauty and the wonderful diversity of you children and youth here at All Souls. You bloom where you are planted and you blossom beautifully. You bring beauty, love, and great joy into our lives. You are our renewal of life and our hope for the future of Mother Earth. I hope that you enjoy your flowers and take good care of them. Please come down the center aisle to get your flowers, and then take your flower down the side aisle and go to your religious education classes. I know that some of our middle school and high school youth are remaining in the service today, but come and get your flower now and you can put it under your seat. So would everyone come get their flowers now?
Will you join me now in the words of dedication for the offering? We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create a just and compassionate society. It is with rejoicing that we this morning have the opportunity formally to welcome into membership those who have joined the All Souls congregation during the past several months. Ours is a free faith, and our church is not based upon dogmas or upon creeds, but upon the thoughtful and freely given commitment of mind and heart in community. Into this circle of shared search, collective counsel, and mutual support, these people have elected to enter. May this community fulfill in practice their best hopes. May their wisdom and energy be generously shared here. May we welcome them with gladness and with open hearts. Will the following people please come forward when Angie calls your name to sign the membership book here? Please, you can bring your families with you if you like, if they're here with you.
Jamie Ariola. Jamie and her husband Eric have 2 children, Leo the lion and Sawyer the adventurer, along with 2 cats, Flash and Bartleby. She works as a social worker with Kansas City Public Schools, helping immigrants and refugees, and she's fluent in Spanish. She and her family have started studying Taekwondo, so if you need a little self-defense, check them out. Susan Bachman. If you could please come up when I call your name as well, that'd be great. Susan Bachman. Susan enjoys yoga, books, and walking. Has a love for music and musicals. She also enjoys a good laugh, and she's married to Bob. Bob Facer, who she's married to, has lived in the Kansas City area for 38 years and is retired from the Kansas City, Missouri Parks and Recreation. He has been married to Susan, the aforementioned Susan, for over 13 years and still likes her for the most part. Rita Gienap. Rita retired from her job as an occupational therapist within the Olathe school system. Her interests are photography, painting, drawing, crafts, nature, reading, and learning new things. She also volunteers as a tech coach at the Waldo Library. Since becoming a member of All Souls, she has also become involved with several groups and committees. We're very happy to have her on several of our committees. Ruth Robertson. Ruth was born late in her family, the last of 4 children. She was designated as the one who will stick with music. After the other 3 siblings failed to respond to their mother's strict teaching methods, she suspects her father must have gently convinced her mom to hire an outsider to teach her. It worked. She's been spending the rest of her life addicted to music. Only piano at first, then voice. She is happy to find a musical home here at All Souls, in the All Souls Choir, thanks to you, Anthony. Kyle Serwillo. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Kyle. Kyle has led a life of tremendous suffering and is turning his life over to a higher power. His membership at All Souls helps him commune with the positive energy that binds our souls, which he feels is the foundation of humanity and the bedrock of this church. Anita Masick, our final, last but not least, new member. Not only is Anita learning about retirement, but she is also growing through political activism. She lives in the house of her childhood, and instead of teaching the little ones to read, she now teaches art to her elders. She had been looking for a spiritual home and has found inspiration and kind support here at All Souls, and is honored to be with us. We're honored to have you. She gives a big thanks out to member Mary Lindsay, who introduced her to us, and we are thankful that she did. Hey, Jamie.
We heard about you.
So the class of May 12th, 2019.
In the spirit of dedication, I now invite all of you, our newly received members, to join in speaking the words of covenant that you will see on the screen back there. So let's affirm together. This is
like me and different. Together we make it what it is. I want this community to be a source of light.
It will be if I am. It will make generous gifts if I am a generous giver. It will be a friendly and welcoming place if I remember to reach out. It will be a responsible steward of resources if I participate responsibly in it. It will share beauty and challenging thought with other people if I invite them. It will be a community of fearlessness and faith, of loyalty and love. If I, who make it what it is, am filled with these, as I become a member of this congregation, I dedicate myself to the task of becoming all the Saviors I want my church to be.
Well, the congregation now please rise and join in welcoming our new fellow members by affirming with them the words of our covenant. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Into this community, so dedicated and so understood, these new members are now enfolded. May our congregation nurture and challenge them, offering comfort and guidance and calling forth the best within them. May they in their turn bring to this institution energy, vision, and commitment, that it may become ever more fully the community we have hoped for it to be. Your turn.
We rejoice in the promise through friendship and growth, and again we pledge to walk together in
May we have truth, compassion, and freedom. May the splendid venture of life continue to be celebrated faithfully here and in this community. May the human spirit find an ample home. Welcome. This morning, in addition to welcoming the new members who have recently chosen to make their spiritual home here at All Souls, we have the very special opportunity to honor those who have been members here for more than 50 years. These are the folks who have seen this institution through good times and bad, who have served and celebrated and strategized together, who have walked each other through loss and grief, through sickness of body and despair of spirit, and shared times of rejoicing too. They have borne witness to their values and spoken truth to power. They have showed up at rallies and work days and city council meetings and fundraisers. They have thought and studied and argued and marveled together. They have built a place of meeting and a covenant community with the intention not only that it served their own purposes and needs, but also that it endure beyond them, to be a beacon and a resource to the generations that will follow them. It is a privilege to have many of them here in the midst of this community that they gave so much to create. Not all 21 of them could be with us this morning. Some because it is not as easy for them to get around as it used to be, and some because they are out traveling the world, having new adventures, or celebrating today with family. But all of them will receive this 50-year lapel pin, along with the grateful thanks of the congregation for their half-century of dedication to our community. This is who they are, and I'm going to ask you to just stand up right where you are and turn around so people can see you. The junior member of the group who joined in 1964 is Courtney Perkins. Just stand up, yeah. That's the 64 years. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. 63 years. I'm corrected in my. This is how long they've been members. So even before, 63 years. The group includes both Jack and Rena Jonathan and Karen Wynn. So Jack. 62 years, we have Lucille Page, and 60 years, Linda Keltner. Wilma Major has been a member for 59 years. Both Addie Diedrich and Barbara Hitchings have been members for 56 years. Can you guys stand up for a minute just so that the newer folks can see who you are? Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. 58 years, we had Vera Locke. Okay, 55 years, we have Trudy Nepstead and also Dick and Ellie Dawson. 54 years, Jane Gilbreth, and we'll hear a little bit more about her in a minute. 53 years, Claudine Thomas and Ginger Powers. The class of 51 years has 4 members. They include Betty Hudson, who is here, Barbara Hildner, John Blevins, and Walt Wells. And just reaching 50 years is Carol Chelsis. as we have informal opportunities to express our appreciation to these long-term members, I encourage you to ask about their memories and their stories. They all have some fascinating tales to tell about what this place has meant to them. I asked Jane Gilbreth, who is at the moment traveling in Greece by way of Reykjavik, did I say adventures? About her recollections, and this is what she told me. When my husband and I moved to Kansas City in 1964, she said, he was an atheist and I was clinging to my Christian beliefs. With 4 children, we looked for the Unitarian church. As occasional attendees, we joined Dinner for 8. It was our only social outlet for 8 years. We didn't pledge. We were wrapped up in running a business and raising our family, and Leon Gilbreth believed a strong person didn't need anyone else. We led a pretty isolated life. But after a divorce in 1972, I came to All Souls looking for community and connections. Introverted and shy, it was difficult for me to connect. I know those of you who know me now, she says, find this hard to believe, but it's true. Because of my Westport business, I was asked to be the All Souls representative to the Westport Cooperative Mission. Aha, a connection. Then Floyd Williams asked me to be on the finance committee. Someone invited me to join the Sunday brunch. Jean McCormick said, this church needs a Wednesday night social activity. If you'll agree to come every Wednesday for 3 months, we can start a weekly potluck. I was part of a community. Over the years, I've participated in and shared many different committees, religious services, where I learned to enjoy preparing worship services, stewardship, facilities, Friends of the Forum, human resources, fundraising, and others I've forgotten. I've been secretary, vice president, and treasurer of the Board of Trustees. I've agreed to do things I knew nothing about. And in the process, I've learned and grown as a person. My theology, if I can call it that, has changed and expanded. I've made new friends each time I've tried something different. It constantly amazes me that people think I know what I'm talking about. Currently, I chair visual arts and coordinate the gallery. An interesting, exciting job, although I know very little about the local art community, but I'm learning. Here at All Souls, I'm challenged to be the best person I can be. I've met dedicated, loving human beings. I know that having other people in my life doesn't weaken me. It makes me stronger. I'm part of a community that cares about the environment, about social justice, about equal opportunity. At All Souls, I've found community and connection, and more, I've found a commitment to being a part in making our world a better place. Couldn't have said it better. So now I invite those of you who are helping me to come up and for the congregation to join in our responses for the litany of thanks. So can you be over there with Angie? Is that on?
For silver friends who come into our lives when we least expect them, bringing new perspectives,
we offer gratitude and rejoicing. For golden friends who knew us back in the day and share our memories,
we offer praise and thanksgiving.
For silver friends who see us as the people we are becoming and not the accumulations of our past,
we offer gratitude and rejoicing.
For golden friends who understand the challenges and the pain that have shaped us,
we offer praise and thanksgiving.
For silver friends who freely invite us to try different experiences, unaware of our old fears and failures.
We offer gratitude and rejoicing. For golden friends whose trust has been earned and fractured and mended and earned again.
We offer praise and thanksgiving.
For silver friends who discover joy in our presence and affirm the possibilities of new affection.
We offer gratitude and rejoicing.
For golden friends whose wisdom has guided us in difficulties, whose care has sustained us in sorrow.
We offer praise and thanksgiving.
For silver friends whose welcome is an invitation, an outstretched hand, a summoning to adventure and a larger life.
We offer gratitude and rejoicing. For golden friends whose welcome is a benediction, a heart mirror, a celebration of all the ways we have blessed the world together. We offer praise and thanksgiving. We offer gratitude and rejoicing. May both gold and silver friends always be woven through the years of our lives. Now I invite us all to rise and sing together our 150th anniversary hymn. Every year, of course, has its own highs and lows, its historic moments. But 50 years ago in 1969, the world shifted in some unusually significant ways. In May of that year, the first color pictures of the Earth as seen from outer space were published. Just consider that for a moment, how it changes our relationship to the planet. Then on July 20th, 2 American astronauts first set human foot on the moon. In June, the Stonewall riots in New York initiated the modern gay rights movement. So much came out of that, right? And then the 3-day concert at Woodstock in August defined the music and the ethos of a generation. In December, the 4-node ARPANET networking system successfully communicated among computers at UCLA, Stanford, the University of Utah, and the University of California at Santa Barbara, establishing the foundation for today's internet. 1969, y'all. Some of us weren't even around then, but several aspects of the global culture that we take for granted today first appeared in that seminal year, half a century ago. Closer to home, that year, All Souls followed the celebration of its centennial anniversary in 1968, and this poster was designed by Barbara Hitchings for that celebration. Followed the next year in '69 by commissioning 85 families from among its more than 700 members to found a new UU church in Johnson County, Kansas. The adept humanist minister, Dr. Ray Bragg, for whom this auditorium is named, was then at the height of a productive 21-year ministry here, and Unitarian Universalism had been experiencing a national growth spurt. This building had been dedicated just 9 years earlier, with the education wing completed 3 years after that. Sunday school classrooms were overflowing as the last of the baby boom children cycled through a religious education program staffed primarily by volunteer moms. Decades of nonviolent protest for civil rights were hardening into privileged white resistance and calls for Black power after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The UUA suffered a white fragility spasm and lost credibility with its own members of color and with their larger communities. Second wave feminism was moving from the theoretical writings of Simone de Beauvoir and Betty Friedan to the political activism that would culminate in the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment 5 years later. But it was in '69 that Mary Daly published The Church and the Second Sex. Progressive religious communities began publicly reconsidering the role and authority of women as professional leaders. It was both a yeasty and a challenging time for liberal thought in general. Unitarian Universalism was lifted and tossed on these same cultural waves. Most people, when they choose to join a church community, don't think of themselves as part of a societal trend. It feels more like a personal decision, part of an ongoing spiritual journey, a search for support in life's difficulties, a need for validation in changing political or theological convictions, a yearning for friends. And so it is a personal decision that is always based on the interweaving of complex factors, always a bit of a risk and a venturing into the unknown. It requires a certain courage to reach out into a new group. It's an act of faith, really, believing in the possibility of human connection, trusting that what we share as human beings is more formative than all the things that you think and I think are uniquely messed up about our individual selves. It's a gamble. Can this institution really live up to the values that it claims to promote? Will these people actually be authentic and kind to each other and interested in what I have to offer? The answer, of course, is no, not absolutely, not entirely, not perfectly. The 50-year folks here are already aware of this, by the way. New members, this morning is largely for your benefit and a reminder to us all. This congregation, like all other assemblies of real people, is full of cranks and bores and cowards and failures and judgmental hypocrites and those who are angry and those who are deeply unwoke and all the other human flaws that you can think of. All of us struggle. All of us carry hidden burdens and scars. All of us, at one time or another, have let the people we care about down, just like you and me. Whatever your secret despair, someone here shares it. But we are here in the midst of all these imperfect others because life is not a do-it-yourself alone project. And all the perfect people have already found each other in some other church that I have never encountered. Still, here in this confused and awkward, more or less organization, if we are willing to let it, something amazing happens. The silver threads of friendship begin to spin themselves from one faulty, broken heart to another. And if we keep showing up and putting our hopes and our hands out there, those fragile silver threads of new friendship grow strong and are tested, and over time ripen into the golden bonds of long connection that are the web of meaning to sustain us all in community. Ideally, you need them both, the old and the new. New friends to enrich and enliven that community and spread it wider, as well as old-timers who hold the center and carry the collective memory and know how to survive a crisis without falling too far apart. Dearly beloved, there is no one but us, no perfect community, no unblemished members, just the fallible, hopeful people here right now, willing to take a chance again on being human together so that we might help each other do better than we otherwise might in this project of living. Think of all the changes that have washed over our nation and our world and our church since 1969. What wisdom might we learn from these, our elders, about survival and integrity and balance and staying power? What insight might these newcomers have to teach us about the urgencies and possibilities of this new millennium? How might we discover together the place where your gifts, which are just as real and just as deep as your brokenness, can be made fruitful for the present needs of our world? And how might we make this place, this temple of the human spirit, a house of wisdom and welcome for years beyond our own. It begins by choosing to risk, choosing to reach out, choosing to connect, choosing to stay for the long haul. It begins by choosing love.
I had the great pleasure of attending the Kolami service here in this room 2 Fridays ago. And they sang this anthem, which really spoke to me. And I thought, what a fantastic anthem for this congregation. The words really weave through our congregation and our lives, and you have a part. So when we get to it, you get to sing these words that'll be on the screen at the end of every verse. And we get to choose this at the end of every verse. And your part is very hard. It's 3 notes. You get to sing, I choose love. Sing it with me. I choose love. Say you're perfect already.
In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, sorrow falling down like rain, I await the sun again. I choose love. I choose love. In the midst of war, I choose peace. In the midst of war, I choose peace. In the midst of war, hate and anger keep its score. I will sing the good once more. I choose peace. I choose peace. When my world falls down, I will rise. When my world falls down, I will rise. When my world falls down, explanations can't be found. I will climb to holy ground. I will rise. I will rise. In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, sorrow falling down like rain, I await the sun again. I choose love. I choose love. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fires of commitment. For all these we carry in our minds and hearts until we are together again. As the great Universalist Hosea Ballou once reminded his people, if we agree in love, there is no disagreement that can do us any injury. But if we do not, no other agreement can do us any good. Let us endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace. And so be it.